back, I don't regret not going back with him and making a relationship work with him. Because he can't even co-parent at a distance. So like imagine
I mean, you know what I mean? Gotta put that in there. But I can always speak for myself. And when I look at a woman, I look at more of her soul. You know what I'm saying? I look at more of, where do I start, guys? Where do I start? Do I start with the entitlement? Do I start with the
Who's entitled?
entitlement? Do I start with the perception of
Don't even drop into the what? Entitled?
Hello my superstars, welcome back to another Wind Down Wednesday. As you can tell with the title of the video, today we are talking about navigating being a single parent, especially for me because I'm an international parent now. We're also going to talk about dating in our 30s. We're also going to talk about misconceptions that American has on Africans. Okay, so before I go any further, I'm going to introduce you to a dear friend of mine who's joining us today. This is Jamil.
how we doing?
We good, how are you?
All right.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Okay, so today we have the Groot. It's a Method Cap Classique, aka champagne, which is not made of France. This is the bottle that we have for today's Wind Down Wednesday. Okay, the camera won't focus, but that's on that. I'm gonna crack this baby up and we're gonna get started. Yes. And then the first topic is single parenthood. Navigating single parenthood. And you're gonna go first.
Okay.
Yes.
My perspective on it is one, just being a single parent in general. It's not easy. Everybody knows that. Okay. But the other thing is, you gotta understand what you're doing.
Yeah.
You gotta understand what you're doing. And you don't intentionally get into it. You know what I mean? Okay. You don't intentionally get into it.
Yeah.
So, navigating.
Yeah, so what I mean, so navigating through it, obviously, you know, when you were little, if you ever dreamt of having a family, you didn't dream of it being a single parent.
Yeah.
So what I mean about navigating through being a single parent is what are the core principles that you had growing up that you got from your parents, and you're like, you wanna instill this in your own home one day. How do you do that as a single parent?
That's difficult.
Yeah.
That's difficult because I mean every situation is different. Yeah, so I mean like the situation that you're getting into, right? You could plan to not instill what you grew up in, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's like you can't control everything.
Okay.
So it's like the only thing you can control is what you can control, which means if you don't want your kids to grow up the way you grew up and go through the same things that you went through,
Okay.
the only thing you could do is teach them how to not repeat that.
Okay.
Generational repetition. So I think in that scenario and on that topic, I think the best way to instill better values in your kid is just to learn from your mistakes, which is
Cliche.
easier said than done.
Yeah.
But and you can teach that to your kids, but it's only about how strong your guidance is and your bond is with your kid in order to break that generational repetition.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, sometimes single parenthood is not always a bad thing. You know what I mean? Because you could have two toxic parents.
That part.
You know what I'm
that
saying?
part.
And
Yes.
sometimes it's better that way. You know?
Because I honestly, putting my business out there, you guys know my business. That I let you know anyway. But sometimes it's really better for the child to have the parents apart, where they can get the parents at their best rather than having them together. Because I remember for myself, me and the father of my child, there was a time where he was like, okay, let's move in together, let's, you know, so we can get an apartment. So yes, he was like, oh, let's move in together. And I was like, you know what, the way that we fight, I don't think this is gonna happen. It's not gonna work out, because I don't want her to see that, and I don't want her to think that that's normal. And then
you definitely don't want,
and then he was like, oh, okay, you don't want me? I'm about to change provinces, what you guys call it here, states. I'm gonna skip state. And then he will struggle with this job by himself. So that was that. But like, still looking back, I don't regret not going back with him and making a relationship work with him. Cause he can't even co-parent at a distance. So like, imagine, no, you know, no, like no, it was just no. And it was not gonna be fair on my child to always be castrating her father in front of her because he's not being a father. Not for doing the bare minimum or not doing anything at all. So I was calling him out on that, and that's when it became toxic and he defended his BS, and it was just like, okay, you know what, we cannot do this. No. So yes.
So I mean, to add to that is, you know, I have a similar situation where we did move in. Yeah, I mean, you had a situation where you knew not to move in because you knew it wasn't best for your daughter.
Yeah.
And like we were saying, you know, creating that generational repetition, just, you know, doing the same thing over and over and thinking that it's okay.
Exactly.
It's not okay.
It's not okay.
So, you know, you wanted to change something, even though you wanted to parent from afar, and he still can't.
Oh, he can.
Okay.
He just don't want to.
He just don't want to. Okay.
He just don't want to.
Okay.
Yes.
Different. All right.
Yes,
all right.
he's choosing.
He's choosing
to
not
do
to.
absolutely.
He
for
can,
all.
but he doesn't want to. Okay.
Yes.
Let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
Okay.
He can. No, of course. He's fine financially.
Yeah.
He just don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
And I think it's a point where he thinks him not doing anything is destroying me. He's there. Wait,
but then
he
doesn't realize.
She's gonna keep coming after me. You know, being, what's the word? Typical baby moms. What that bitter nonsense. I am glowing. I am growing. I am getting my shit together. I am happy. I'm getting finer every year. Say so myself. But you know, I'm happy. You know, and I haven't dealt with him in so long, and I love it here. I love it here. You know, I don't even give him a second thought up until now that we're talking about this, but I really don't care. You know, that's the thing. And that's the thing. And the thing is, I'm living my life. You know?
Exactly.
She's seeing who's present and who's doing things that she's supposed to do. And by the time she comes of age, and then he's gonna be coming out like every other typical baby, he's gonna be like, oh, that's my kid.
Yeah, but that's the thing. He doesn't realize he's not harming you at all.
Oh, he realizes that. He just doesn't care to not be paying the bill.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so it's like when you're doing more harm to the child than the parent, because you can't do any harm to the parent. I mean, at the end of the day, you had a child together. I mean, what else? That's it. You know what I'm saying? It stops there. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna live your life. He's gonna live his life. But being a parent that's not like really responsible. That's the best word to use. Responsible parent. About being there for your child and focus on the other parent. That's when you do more harm to the kid than the parent. And your priorities is in the wrong direction. And I think a lot of men don't realize that. You know what I'm saying? Because I think there's a
Do you really think that they don't realize that, or it's a thing, or it's a pattern of their own mothers enabling it?
That too. I mean, and like we're talking about the way you was raised. You know what I'm saying? Because most men, they come from a household where they wasn't raised by their father.
This one's father was there.
You know
his parents were married.
Oh, really?
At some point.
Okay.
But it got to a point where they
were
no longer together. However, when he was living with his dad, all I had to do was call his father, and his father would talk some sense or reprimand him, and something would be done. But when he moved out of his father's house, and then he moved with his mom, it's kind of funny because the mom, when my mom convinced me to go to court and stuff, and then I went, he didn't want to pick up the phone. Right? When the maintenance officer was calling him. His mom picked up the phone. And the mom said, oh no, he's not working. We're gonna come to blah, 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 blah. Of course, we're gonna come in a pair, this, and that. Because I was a legal assistant, and I know there's certain tools that the maintenance officers have. And I'm like, dude, I have his ID. I know you have a software where you all you have to do is punch in his ID number, and then it will tell you whether this guy's working or not. And guess what happened? He's got a job. His mom said he's not working, right? He's got a job.
Yeah.
Not only a job, he's a manager.
Oh, wow.
Just bought a car, looking for insurance. And that time, he's not even sending his daughter consistently $20 a month.
Oh, wow. And there's damages in Africa.
A month.
He wasn't even paying the damages.
So that's a topic right under this.
Okay. Not even 40 pounds. Okay.
And there's damages in Africa, yes. There's damages in Africa. Yeah, but who told you about the damages? I tell you about the damages.
You told me about the damages, but not only just, it's basically a form of our child support. You know what I'm saying?
So the damages are just like an apology to the girl's family.
Yeah, I remember you explaining that.
Yes. And then from there, you still gotta, do child support and raise your child.
So it's double. Wow, okay.
No, cause it's a once-off thing. The damages.
Yeah.
It's like a once-off thing.
But then you're still paying child support.
Because you have to raise your child. Yeah, it's like you were supposed to pay lobola before you get the daughter to give you children, but you decided to not do that, disrespecting the family. So you're gonna now apologize to the family for not doing things the right way with damages. Now you get it? And then you don't have to marry if you don't want to. You go about and you just support your child.
All right, but going back to navigating, it's like you can try to control that. Like I was saying, you can try to control that all you want, but I mean, if that's all the child knows, and if you don't set a better example, it's gonna keep repeating itself.
That's true.
It's gonna keep repeating itself, because I mean, the woman's gonna feel like they don't need a man, and the man's gonna feel like I don't need to be there, I'll just pay child support. And that just keeps going. And it just keeps going. It just keeps going. It just keeps going. It just keeps going.
Yeah.
So when you have a child, when you're a single parent, it's the best thing to do in that situation is to get into a relationship to show your child what a healthy relationship is. And not only just marriage, actually instilling what a healthy relationship is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What it means to pour into each other. What it means to support each other. What it means to be a team. You know? And over time, the child will pick up. You know what I'm saying? The child will pick up and realize, okay, I realize my parents can't be together. But I'm with my father and I'm with my mother. And when I'm with my father, they have a healthy relationship. And when I'm with my mother, if she has a healthy relationship, she has a healthy relationship.
And this is how
and
it's supposed to look like.
And that's how it's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
I understand y'all couldn't be together because of whatever, but y'all both had gotten to a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
Now, when they decide to have kids, and when they decide to get into that realm of being an adult and actually taking someone serious, it might not happen, and that's how you kind of control the never-gating part. But it's work, you know, because you can't say you're gonna get into a relationship and expect a relationship to be healthy, because you can't predict everything. You know what I'm saying?
True.
And when you're getting to know someone, you gotta be careful when you bring your kids around. You know, because they could get attached. They could get, you know what I'm saying, you know, comfortable. Yeah. And then things don't work out between you guys. You know what I'm saying? And then now the child's going through that again.
Yeah,
So now you have two parents that couldn't be together. Whatever parent was in a healthy relationship, they got used to that person. They're not together. Now what? You're gonna get somebody else. Now when you get the next person, they're numb to it.
It's a lot.
They're numb to it.
Yeah.
So and then when they decide to get into a relationship and have kids, they're just like, you know what? I don't want to get married, and they want to have kids, and then it
what's
just
the
continues.
point?
Yeah, exactly. I already seen this with my mom, my
anyway.
dad, and da-da. So what's the point? I might as well just have kids and put
And then
my information out
the
there.
broken families keeps going on and on and on for
Exactly, and
generations.
it's just the repetition just keeps going. But so put my information out there, not too much, but that's basically what I did. You know what I'm saying? I my parents was never married, so I was like, you know, and I was going through all these relationships and stuff like that, and I was just like, you know what? What's the point of marriage?
This is it's normal to have kids.
Yeah, well, I'll just have a
everybody
kid.
does
You know
it.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And that didn't turn out well. So now I'm seeing, you know, from my own experience, I'm seeing it's better to be in a relationship. So now that's what I'm doing. You know, I'm still trying to raise my child And
Yeah.
at the same time, I'm like focused on finding a relationship that I can mirror into her life. And that's gonna be difficult.
Yeah, nothing comes easy. That's
You know,
right.
yeah, especially when you meet someone that doesn't have kids. They don't understand certain aspects of being a parent, so they don't have as much patience.
As someone who would
As
have
someone
children.
would have children.
So wouldn't
know
you
what I'm saying?
say that it would be like better since you are a single parent to date a single parent?
Yeah, no.
Yeah?
Yeah, it is, because when it comes to like, you know, crisis, or you have to deal with the other parent and you're in a relationship with that person, they understand. You know, you might sometimes have plans with that person that you're with, but
Yeah.
you know, life comes up, especially when you have a child. You know what I'm saying? Life comes up. There could be an emergency, there could be an emergency with the other parent, you have to go pick up your child, whatever it is, and you might have to put some things on hold.
Yeah.
And if you're dating someone that's a single parent as well, then they understand. They get it. You know, they get it. They're like, go ahead, go take care. I get it. You know what I'm saying? They won't even think twice about it. They won't feel no type of way about it. Versus if you date someone that doesn't have kids, they might be a little selfish. Even if they're doing it subconsciously. They might be doing it subconsciously. They might not even be doing it intentionally. They might be like, I can't be with you no more because every time we have something planned, you gotta go to your and your baby mom's calling you, and why can't she call you later? It's 10 o'clock. Why is she calling you? Why is she texting you? Like, you really don't understand what parenting is. Like, but I mean, you know, you can get into those moments where if you want to control that navigating part, there's a lot of different things you can do. It's difficult. It's not easy. I mean, I think the best, simplest advice as far as trying not to repeat it is just be you and explain to your kid, listen, this is what happened. You know what I'm saying? Even if you don't have a healthy relationship to mirror, just explain, you know, and just guide them the right way. You know, only tell them what they need to know.
Yeah, just to wrap up this part of the conversation. For me, what really works for me is that I am consciously working on being the best version of myself. I make sure my daughter sees it. Whether I'm studying, I make sure she sees me studying, she sees me working, she sees me taking good care of myself, she sees me being good to me, you know, she sees me loving on me. So by the time I tell her that I love her and all of these things, and I pour into her, she can see that I'm not pouring into an empty space. And now that I'm here and then she's back home, since I'm like a digital mom, I kind of explain to her why I'm doing certain things. So now we're gonna talk about dating in your 30s versus dating in your 20s.
Oh yes.
Oh yes.
Oh my, you're gonna go first.
You're
gonna go first because I started first. Because I got too much to say about this.
Okay, no problem. So, for me, right now, dating in my 30s is, it's like, you know, when you are dating with intention. I'm dating with intention. But I've learned to not voice out my intentions. And I'm going to tell you why that is. Because what I've noticed is when you are too honest with these species, they come up and then they show up as the version of the man you want for like 2 to 3 months, and they pretend to be everything that you said you wanted on the first date so that they can hook you in. And once they have you hooked in, then they'll be like, okay, you know.
Okay, hold on. We're talking about when you're in your 20s. We're talking about when you're in your 20s, right?
No, I'm talking about my 30s first.
So you sure you finished?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Just to touch on the subject, right? So you say don't tell a man, right? Don't tell a man.
Don't tell him what you are looking for.
All right.
Date him and see if it's what you're looking for or not.
Okay. All right. You say that, right?
Yes.
But when a man doesn't ask about you and try to see what your preferences is or what you like.
Preferences in what?
Anything.
If you want to ask what's my favorite
because
word, I can tell you that.
Exactly.
What I'm saying is, don't tell a man the characteristics that you're looking for in the man.
Okay, but hold on, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Because that goes back to conversations where you're like, you know, how was your past relationships? We don't have to ask that directly.
Oh,
But how
my
was your
past
past
relationships
relationship?
were amazing.
Okay, and exactly.
Yeah, they're amazing. Okay.
Okay, leave it at that.
They
all right?
just did not, live up
And
to
then
the
you know what we're gonna ask?
expectations.
You know what we're gonna ask when you say that?
Go ahead.
Why are you not still with them?
Because they didn't live up to the expectations.
Okay,
They
and
didn't live up
then
to
you know
the-
what we're gonna ask after that?
What?
What was your expectations?
I'm going to tell you that you don't have to worry about that.
Oh, exactly.
Let's just see what you're doing and who you
Okay.
are and
So
how
now,
you treat
so
me,
now,
and
so
then
now,
move on
so
from there.
now, as men, what we read in that is, you're just. I can't speak for every man. You know what I'm saying? I can only speak for myself and people that I know close. But anyway, so you're looking for a man that either got money. That's how we read it.
Okay.
Because when you don't tell us that, we can see through it. You know what I'm saying? We're like, all right, let me look at her lifestyle. Let me see how she dressed. Let me see what type of things she like. Without you even telling us, we're like, okay.
You already know what this is before you come here. You
Yeah,
know
of
what
course,
this is.
of course, of course.
Okay.
So we size women up automatically. We go, okay, she's expensive. I can see she like designer. She likes nice places. We look at it like, okay, the reason why you're not with those men that you were with, you know, say that as men, we just think one or two things. You go, okay,
Yes.
they either have money and they didn't want to spend on you the way you wanted them to, or spend on you the way they wanted you to, or they just they wasn't well established, they wasn't living right, they didn't have a nice car, they didn't have the nice connections or whatever. That's how we read it, you know what I'm saying? We look at it either one or two, you know what I'm saying? Now, someone that has a connection with their higher self, they may not look at it that way. They might go, you know what I'm saying? And I'm only speaking for myself, you know what I'm saying? I can,
say.
you know, nah, I mean, you know gotta put that in there. But I can only speak for myself, and when I look at a woman, I look at more of her soul. You know what I'm saying? I look at more of, you know what I'm saying, how she is as with her inner self, and you know what I'm saying, how she holds conversations, and you know the type of academic language she uses. You know what I'm saying? It tells me that she's well educated and she's in tune with herself, and she's not only looking for certain things. You know what I'm saying? Now, there's nothing wrong with having the nice things in life. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to treat
Also,
yourself.
what's wrong with wanting
You
a
know what I'm
man
saying?
with money?
There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying.
Okay.
For us, it's a red flag.
Why is it?
Because we're looking at it like, you're not looking into me. The reason why you're not with these other men is because they didn't have enough money to sustain your
Now,
lifestyle.
let me tell you something.
You know what I'm saying?
Let me tell you something. Hold on. But I was with a guy. He had a lot of money. Yeah. You know, money was not a question. I still left.
What you mean? What happened? Now, before you respond, our perspective is before you even answer, we're thinking, okay, you know what? He was either fucking a lot of bitches, right? He was fucking a lot of bitches, and he had money. Yeah, of course. If he has money, of course he's gonna take care of his woman. He's gonna take care of his woman. You know what I'm saying? But you ain't gonna be the only one, especially if you got money. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I got options. You know what I'm saying? I got money.
So
you
that's
know,
how you
take
see.
care.
So you tell me if you're a multi-millionaire, you're gonna be fucking around.
I mean, most do.
I'm saying if you were.
If I'm gonna speak for myself,
Yes.
probably more than likely, yeah.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? But that's not because I want to.
What? That is because
it's not
you
because
want
I
to.
want
What do
to.
you mean? Yes, it
It's not because
is.
I want
Yes,
to.
it
Now
is.
let me explain
Oh,
why. All right,
yes,
before
it is.
I explain that part,
Go ahead,
all I'm saying, I'm gonna get to that. But before I explain that part, but yeah, you could have dated somebody with money, right? And it's like you're still not with them, so okay.
What did I read?
Before you answer.
No, but you wanted me.
No, before you answer. I'm just telling you what we're gonna think before you even answer.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? And I ain't gonna say we because I can only speak for myself. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's like generally men kind of think the same. So it's like we're gonna look at it like, alright, there's only like 2 or 3 options. It's either she was mad that he was fucking other bitches and he got money, you know what I'm saying? He had other options. Or it was he wasn't trying to marry her, you know what I'm saying? He was just trying to, take care of her, you know what I'm saying, and have a good lifestyle with her and treat her right, but really wasn't trying to marry her and wasn't thinking about long term with her. Or it's just nigga couldn't fuck right, you know what I'm saying? He had money, he couldn't fuck right, so it's like you looking at it like I ain't gonna stay with this nigga. So that's how we think as men. We think one-minded, you know what I'm saying? We're not gonna think deep into like, he wasn't like spiritually connected. And we don't think like that. Like we don't think, he wasn't spiritually connected, he wasn't educated enough, and he didn't actually see me as a person, and we don't think about all that shit. We just think about the simplest reasons why. Now, when you respond and you tell us why, and then we think about what you're saying, then we're still kind of thinking simple. Well, but tell me the reason why. Tell me the reason why.
So for For me, okay, yeah, the sex wasn't great.
Okay, maybe I wasn't
But
wrong. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
But that's not the reason why I left.
Okay.
That's not the reason why I left. I just saw that he was not focused in terms of building a relationship.
Didn't I just say that?
Listen to this. No, he viewed me
Okay.
as his woman.
Okay.
Because he even looked at me in a way.
Go ahead.
He even looked at me the other day and he was like, yeah, I know, I want a baby and blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
and all these things. But then I was like, okay, because when we were together, we would do things that are very like nice, very classy, go to like Michelin star restaurants, really nice places, jazz lounge, like, you know, those type of places, you know, like yeah, like
Very
those
elegant.
places, you know what I mean? And then I'd be seeing this man is outside in a club, you know, with the rack of lots of money, like about to. And then I'm like, okay, I get it, you see me in this life, but it doesn't mean you cannot have fun with me.
No.
And then as you said, yes, I saw that, oh, there was somebody else he was entertaining. But then in the same breath, you're gonna turn around and you're gonna want me to be your wife. And then I was like, I'm not doing this.
Exactly.
I'm not doing this.
So everything I just said,
Yeah.
everything I just said is what we would think about, and she just confirmed it. So that's what I'm saying. So we look at it like, okay, because I mean, most women, I ain't gonna say all, but most women, they usually have the same playbook. You know what I'm saying? Like most women do. And most women want marriage. Most women want a family. Most women want to be, you know, catered to. Most women want to be seen. You know what I'm saying? Most women want their man to be provide, you know what I'm saying, protect.
Yeah.
Most, if not all women, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Even if they don't acknowledge it, they want that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, so as men, we think about it and we go, okay, this is a beautiful girl that's in front of me. Mm-hmm. I'm sure I'm obviously not the first one she's dealt with, and I'm probably not gonna be the last. But it's like, okay. But and this is how we think of it. It's like, all right, but you know what? What can I do to put my impression on this? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, all right, you know what? All right, while I'm here with this one, let me make sure I do enough for her to think about me later on if we don't last. You know what I'm saying? And that's how we think as men, you know what I'm saying? And that's the reason why I think men in general cheat. You know what I'm saying? Because we just think about it as, and like I said, I can't speak for all men. I can only speak for myself and people that I know that I'm close to. But it's like we tend to look at it like, okay, what's the point? You know what I'm saying? We know when we gotta keep it. You know what I'm saying? We know. We really do know. And we gotta keep it. We ain't gonna fuck that shit up. We gotta make sure we do everything we can.
So you hear that?
You know
if he's not doing everything he can, it's not your
and that's the thing. We know when they're not a keeper. We know when they're for recreational use. That's what we call it. You know what I'm saying?
Recreational use with whose body? The audacity of this.
We know. We just know when they're for recreational use. We know. You know what I'm saying? We got low hanging fruit, and then we got you know that fruit that's up there that's all the way inside the vines. You know what I'm saying? That's rare. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like that one right there is potent. You know what I'm saying? Low hanging fruit. You don't want it. You know what I'm saying? So we know when we got that.
And this is why I keep telling you guys, vagina is never free. It comes with terms and conditions.
It does.
Do not be giving it away for sport, because you hear what he said? Low hanging fruit. When you give it, don't.
All right, but now hold up. I'm gonna put y'all on. All right. As men, as men, we think about it like this. All right.
Hold on, I'm literally taking notes.
As men, this is how we think about it. Okay. There's a fine line between, and y'all all gonna hate me for saying this. Women, I'm sorry, I love y'all, especially my black woman. I love y'all. I'm sorry, but I'm just saying this. There's a fine line between an escort, which is / a prostitute, and someone you're just fucking around with. There's a very fine line. Why? Because with an escort, you're paying for a service. You're paying for a specific service. You know, you're gonna get this amount of time. You know, you're going there just to do one thing, and that's that, right?
Yes, and then
Whereas someone that you're not really dating, but you're fucking around, your fuck buddy, it's like, you know, you're gonna end up either spending money on food or maybe take her out for her nails.
so you're still spending money.
You're still spending money. So men that say, I would never pay money for an escort or a prostitute or whatever, guess what? Guess what? You're still doing it. You're still doing it. The only difference is you don't know if she's fucking around with someone else. You have to find out if she's fucking around with someone else. Versus an escort, you know she's fucking around with someone. Well, she laughed at that. Okay.
Okay, so last but not least, we're gonna talk about the misconceptions that Americans have with Africans. We got an American right here, so we're gonna let him start.
And we got a South African right here.
Yeah, fully African. Yes. Go ahead.
So, where do I start? Where do I start, guys? Where do I start? Do I start with the entitlement? Do I start with the
Who's entitled?
entitlement? Or do I start with the perception of
Just don't eat this broccoli to the what? Entitled?
the misconception is Africans come here to America and they feel like they're better than us. Okay? Generally. And I'm gonna keep it
That's
simple.
what you think.
No, that's what it seems like. Because
How so?
when we do talk to someone from Africa, they go, oh, well, you're African American? And then immediately, what do we get? If they're with their African friend, they turn to their African friend and they start talking whatever language they know. They go, the way we do it is, because that's all we hear. You know what I'm saying?
Don't do that.
I know, but that's normally how we do it. That's normally what we hear.
That sounds retarded.
It does. And it sounds retarded to us. That's the reason why we do it that way. So it's like, that's how we see it. You know what I'm saying? That's how we hear it. So we're intentionally making it disrespectful because we feel disrespected by So it's like, all right.
You feel disrespected by our language?
No, not even. It's your character. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like the way y'all carry it is like, and I'm too good to talk to you. Like, yo, what? And then we hear, that's all we hear.
Stop that shit.
I'm not trying to do it intentionally. I'm just explaining to your viewers, okay? So that's how we look at it. You know what I'm saying?
That's a pain that though. Yes, pain that.
See, exactly. That's what we hear. Exactly. That's exactly what we hear. And we're like, oh, she's trying to disrespect me because you're African. You speak 3 different languages. You come from a tribe.
No,
and you know your descendants, and you know your descendants is because you wasn't. No. Because you wasn't enslaved.
No, you projected like that.
No, I'm just saying this. I'm speaking as because I've had this conversation with a lot of African Americans. So I'm just trying to speak to the ones that I have had this conversation with. So just because you wasn't. I'm just saying you wasn't enslaved. And you know where your ancestors are. You have a culture. You have a tribe, and we're just here, and y'all feel like we're spoiled because we have things that we take for granted. And y'all feel like, we don't understand what it means to actually provide for yourself and live in a third world country. You know what I'm saying? Y'all look at us different. You know what I'm saying? Y'all look at us like, y'all American, African American men, y'all don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all men, and y'all specifically talking about us men, as far as women. You're like, oh, y'all African American men just. And then the women here, they feel like y'all come here and shit on our men, but then take our men and try to teach us what African culture is, and then y'all trying to tell us, you're African American, and this is where you're coming from, and my tribe, and that's what I mean by that entitlement. Because I feel like y'all come here and you have to tell us who we are. You know what I'm saying? Y'all like, oh well, y'all was brought from Africa, so we gotta tell y'all history, because y'all are too lazy to go research y'all ancestors. And then it goes on, and then so that's why a good percentage of African Americans feel some type of way towards Africans. Now, when we talk about Africans, some of us in America don't know that Africa is a big country. You know what I'm saying? I mean, a continent. And it's full of countries. You know what I'm saying? And
I'm gonna drink for you since you don't want to drink.
because this subject is like really passionate for me.
I'm
You know what I'm saying? Y'all come here and y'all want to tell us who we are, okay?
What do you say? You are.
Yeah, y'all motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then we feel like shunned, because when y'all come here and we're already dealing with white men trying to tell us, you know what I'm saying, we're less than. And we already got issues here trying to economically make it and you know what I'm saying, and culturally make it and blah, blah, blah. And you got the white man telling us y'all ain't shit. And then you got our own culture, our own skin. Come over here from Africa and be like, y'all African American men, y'all African American, y'all don't know. Then y'all start speaking y'all whole nother language, and y'all start getting us law, because we're American. We don't know any other language. So then y'all start shitting on us like, and then I'm like, okay, y'all just think we ain't shit. Okay, y'all just think we ain't shit, basically. Okay, I got it. Okay, got it. And that's how we look at it. So then there becomes that misconception of, fuck Africans. And then the Africans come over here and they look at us like, fuck African Americans, they don't like us. And then there's that mix. And guess what? The white man's laughing at us like,
mission accomplished.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we want. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so I'm going to talk about South Africans. I cannot talk about other Africans because it's going to sound very ignorant. Because just like how you sounded right now. Because I'm not from there. I cannot speak for any other nationalities within the African continent. Okay, so within the 9 provinces of South Africa, especially within the Black culture, within all of our tribes, the Xhosas, the Zulus, the Tswana, the Bedis, the Sothos, the Vendas, and I apologize if I did not say the tribe, but okay, well, go ahead. So within our tribes, there was a period in South Africa when it came to the arts. There was a period where there was only 2 channels on 2. I was not conscious at the time to know what I'm talking about, but my history teacher, Mr. Clausen from Harold Crazy High School, told me there was 1, 2, and 51, 52. I was conscious. This is where your information it's a joke to me, because that is not what it was to me, or to us, or to the 90s babies and the 80s babies. So you're probably getting a lot, maybe from, I don't know, I'm not gonna try to guess, but in South Africa when I was growing up. Okay, so eventually we started having film, rolling in, and then we started having our own stories. There's one, Tagalamawele, Fazephepha, all these other stories where it's like Zulus, Xhosas now starting to make our own stories. And even Shaka Zulu, there was a whole series. They did try to make a remake, I haven't watched it. And so there was those television shows going on, and then there were, and then slowly but surely, they started playing international shows on SABC1. I will remember clearly there was, Aiden Nova Song was my favorite. I was in primary school, and I saw Brandy on TV for the very first time. It was
Brandy.
it was not, there was Moesha, which is she's not, there was Moesha, but Brandy had her own show. I forgot the name of the show.
Not Living in Color.
Not Living in Color. I know Living in Color is for people who had DSTV, which is cable. There was a show with Brandy.
I know what show you're talking about.
There was a show where she was on. That show started coming up, and for me at that time, I started seeing black people that speak English. I was like, ooh, pay attention. This is very important. I was like, oh, okay. Then Moesha started coming up. It was Moesha actually. Moesha. It was Moesha. It was Moesha. It was Moesha. It was Brandy's show. And then there was another show with
No, I don't think so.
it was Moesha. It was. I'm gonna invent. It was Moesha. Where's your phone? I don't answer that. But like it was Moesha. It was the other show where there was this Latina girl. Taina. I'm confusing it with Taina.
There we go. Yeah.
Taina is not
There
Brandy.
we go.
Moesha is Brandy.
Yeah, okay.
Taina's up. So those shows came up. And then I was like, oh. And then they started having like adolescent show. And then That's So Raven came out. And I'm like, more black people on TV.
That's definitely what That's So Raven after that era. Yeah,
and then So Raven came out and I'm like, ooh, more people on TV. And it was never in a struggling contest.
Bill Cosby was way before that.
Bill Cosby also came out like before that.
Yeah, before that.
And then Will Smith's show also was airing in
Fresh
South
Prince of
Africa.
Bel-Air,
Fresh Prince. So then that's when the love for African Americans started to develop. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know. Wait.
Okay.
Wait. This is when it started. We're like, oh, this is really cool. And then from there, the music started coming out.
Yeah, the hip hop era.
Not necessarily. The R&B era.
Oh, the R&B. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So there was our Tanias, which we in South Africa till this day we clean our houses, spring clean our houses every Sundays. This deep.
It's like Luther Vandross out here. Like,
listen. I'm talking about me. Luther Vandross was my mother era.
Yeah,
Luther Vandross was there.
We still play that. Go ahead. All right, I'll listen.
Okay. It was always there. I'm talking about when I became conscious of things. Luther Vandross was always there. Aretha Franklin was always there. Marvin Gaye was always there. So my parents were partying too. But I'm telling you now what's relevant to my life. So it has always been there in terms of African American cultures. But I'm telling you what had raised the 90s babies. The 80s babies have their own little stories to tell. I'm not trying to speak for them, but I'm trying to tell you when I was conscious and my age group was conscious at the time, right? So as I was saying, Tamia started coming out, and then I was like, "Ooh, a stranger in my house," and then like my elderly cousins were playing that in the house, cleaning, and at that time they were teenagers, and I was like in primary school, didn't even know what was going on, but like that, it was like a culture, you know, in Google too, where you clean the house and that we deep clean, and then there was Tamia, there was Brandy and Monica, and then there was
Ray J came way after that,
and then there was Casey and JoJo, and then there was Joe Thomas, and then the Kevin Tambles, and then the JC Powell. Those are like my mother's generation, but I'm telling you, the people that raised me when I was conscious. So that was like, I was like, this music is
Tyrese.
nice. Tyrese, yes. I'm like, this music is nicer than the romance, and the boys trying to talk slick and bring all that music to the girls, trying to get the girls. So that was always the thing. And then, now listen to this, then the movie started coming out. Brown Sugar,
yeah, that's the movie.
The Best Man.
Best Man, yeah.
And then,
with Tay Diggs.
Yes, with Tay Diggs, and Stella getting a group. So for South Africans, African American, love and basketball, yes. And then we started seeing our own reflection on TV. We're like, we can do this in a world platform where it's outside of our own stories, where we can speak English and the whole world will be able to, get our stories. Yeah. So that's when I was saying, when you said that was a huge misconception, because we've always looked at African Americans as pioneers. I'm not that. Hold on. You're gonna talk pioneers, and then when we go back to history, back to Nelson Mandela, who's one you know who he is. And then there was also Desmond Tutu, and then there was also Steve Biko. You might not be aware of these people, but these people were inspired by the same. Those people were inspired by the same leaders that you have: Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Marcus Garvey. Those people kind of sold that idea. It's always positive, but you can say what you thought of it.
Honestly, we knew that we were inspired by a lot of countries, you know what I'm saying, as far as African Americans, you know what I'm saying, we knew that, but we have this, like you said, the topic is misconception, and I think that comes from just a lot of people not speaking, you know what I mean, and we know our culture has been throughout the world, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to R&B, hip-hop, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying, because we see it. When we go to other countries, we see other people wearing 50 Cent shirts, Snoop Dogg, or whatever, whether R&B, whatever it is. But that doesn't mean that we're respected. You know what I mean? It could mean that the commercialized part of it is respected because that's what y'all see. You know what I'm saying? But when y'all come here and you actually speak to regular African American every day.
Did you get that from females? Or get them from males? And was it South Africans?
Males too.
South Africans?
Yeah, not South Africans, just African in general. You know what I'm saying?
Where?
Whether it be, you know what I'm saying, I don't know, East, West, North African or whatever, like I had a Moroccan roommate. You know what I'm saying? And he tended to feel like he was better than me. You know what I'm saying? Because he was from Africa. You know what I'm saying? And he used to tell me, he was just like, just comparing, y'all don't understand, y'all take everything for granted here, y'all have soap and y'all don't even use it, and y'all have trains and y'all don't even have, take advantage of it. He was just going off on everything, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, he was just like in my country, we have to cook on a wood and
what? We can got stoves in South Africa. We got electricity and gas. As Tommy's failing, but
and then he's showing me videos and he's like, this is how poor we live, and y'all come here, y'all have everything. And
we do have poor people, but not everybody's poor in South Africa.
Yeah, not everybody. And he was trying to tell me, you as an African American, you're spoiled. You know what I'm saying? He was trying to tell me, y'all don't work as hard as we do. Y'all don't put, y'all don't have the drive that we do. Y'all don't have it. You know what I'm saying? But they still respect us. But at the end of the day, it's more so the commercial side. So it's what y'all see on TV is not technically what it is here in America because you're not seeing what we're actually living through. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
So it's y'all come here and y'all we seen all this stuff, we said with Tyrese and all that stuff. Yeah, y'all seen all of that. But then when y'all come here and y'all start talking to us and you start seeing how we live in and our daily lifestyle, it's this is not the African American I seen on TV. Whoa. We're not all the African Americans you see on TV.
Okay, thank you so much for watching this all the way to the end. I know we had a lot to say. Please do leave your comments down below. Tell me what you thought. I want to hear your thought process. What do you think about each and every topic? If you want to add something to it, go ahead and do that. Thank you guys for your support. We're actually at 600 and late 50s subscribers. So at least we away from the 5s to the 6. So next thing you know, we're gonna be in the thousands. So I'm very, very much excited for that, to reach 1,000 subscribers. But as you guys know, it will not be possible without you and your support, and for you for watching, liking, commenting down below.